What's up, my chatter boxes? I'm back for another review. Love at the Lockup, Season 4, Episode 6, Extra Stress. So it starts off with Chaz. It's I think a day before Branwyn's release. So he's on his way to where she is so he can he gonna get a hotel room so he can be there for the day of her release. So he, was telling us how this is going to be his fifth and final marriage. Like, I'm like, okay, something like I like Chaz. He comes over as come off as a sweet guy, but something tells me something might not be right with you, or you just got bad taste in women. And I mean, you are on Love at the Lockup. You looking on the prison website, for your wife, but you did tell us the reason why you tend to date online, but it's other ways of dating online than going on a prison website. So I'm not even going to even finish that thought. So anyway, he tells us how, they're going to get married as soon as she gets out. And I'm like, well, they're going, what's the rush? But I do believe, I think he said in last episode that because she I think she's in Portland, and it'll just be easier if they get married for his parole. So I guess if she married him, she don't have to stay where she is. She can come to the state that he's in and, finish out, her parole and things of that nature. So, Chaz, he got everything he needs for her release. He's called the Branwyn bag. So he's at the hotel. So he's unloading the whole, the bag. He bought her some Ugg boots. He bought her an iPhone, some sweats. He said that they're going to get married in the sweats. And that was her idea. She thought that it would be cool because they get married real quick at a park aside from where the prison is. And then she got a truck down to her PO. So it ain't no big fanfare, no big to-do. They just trying to make it happen. So he shows us the ring. The ring was pretty nice. He said, I think it was a little over 2 carats. He said he paid over $4,000 for it. And I'm like, $4,000 is a lot of money for a person that you don't know. You understand what I'm saying? Like, typically, if we were in a relationship with somebody, we knew them and stuff like that, okay, $4,000, that's not bad. But for a person you don't know and you iffy about how things might turn out, $4,000 is a nice price tag in that scenario. So I hope, things work out with you, guys, because you already seem like you in with a lot of money. So you say anyway, because you keep on referencing your money. Is that me? Did y'all notice that line that he got behind his head? Do y'all think he just purposely get his hair cut like that? Or is it some kind of issue back there? Because I'm like, well, what the heck? That's some kind of weird hairline. Weird haircut he got going on. I don't know. It just threw me for a loop a little bit. So anyway, he tells us that initially it just was going to be him for the release, but Branwyn wants her best friend there. So her best friend is going to bring the guy Aaron. Now, Aaron is the guy who she was with prior to going to jail, and he's partly the reason why she's in jail now. They were at some kind of hotel room, and she got left holding the bag. And she kind of blamed him for that, and he was supposed to, be the one who was getting her into like some kind of rehab, facility and stuff like that. And in turn, she ended up doing a jail sentence. So she is kind of hesitant about seeing Aaron as well. And Chaz don't seem like he phased too much about Aaron. Chaz is trying to get to, Chaz is trying to figure it out and marry his soon-to-be bride and, live the rest of their life together in Chaz's world. He ain't worrying about Aaron or anybody else. He don't seem like he worried about it, but he did say that he think that Aaron might be trying to rekindle whatever he had with Branwyn, and I don't think Chaz going for that crap. He ain't going for it at all. He was like, I just want you to be mine. And she was like, I am yours. I kind of believe Branwyn really cared for Chaz, but we gonna see. So it's the next day. Chaz is in his car. He's on his way to go pick up his soon-to-be wife. So he like to keep telling us. And he was explaining to us again that Chaz, I mean not Chaz, Aaron might be there, and he was like, he's not really worrying about it too much. He just will do everything he needs to do to make sure Branwyn is protected. Now, we gotta remember that he is an ex-Marine, and the Marines are pretty tough. So my thing is, he might look dorky and short and everything like that, and he might look like he don't pose a threat. But don't let that fool you. He might got something up in him. So he said he'll do what he got to do to make sure she protected. So he don't seem like he worrying about it. That would be a sight to see, wouldn't it? So anyway, he made it to the prison. It's an hour, like 45 minutes to go before she gets out. He was starting to get emotional. He was tearing up, talking about he been waiting for a long time for that. Every time she called, he was looking at the countdown, and it's like really setting in that she about to get out. I'm like, oh, you about to get your wife. You about to get her. Oh my goodness, Chaz. You about to be a married man again for the 5th time. But this the special one right here. This the special one. Because you picking up your bride from the prison. So this is going to be the 5th and last one marriage that you have, because you picking her up from the pearly gates of prison. Okay, Chaz. So Chaz, he's standing out. He went to the intercom, and they told him that the guards told him that they wouldn't be releasing the prisoners until 8 o'clock. So he's standing outside instead of sitting in the car. It seems like it's pretty cold, and he just got like a little sweatsuit on. So it was a lady that got out like her truck, and he asked her, he was like, oh, you waiting for someone to get out? Just sparking up a conversation. And she had flowers in her hand, so he was telling her who he was here to pick up. And he was telling her that he was about to get married. She was like, oh, well, congratulations. You want the flowers? So he was like, oh, I mean, a rose. He was like, oh, yes, you sure? He was like, oh, Branwyn would love this. And I'm like, you're talking about you about to marry this woman, Chaz, and you didn't bring no flowers or anything. Like, come on. Like, you should have thought of that. I mean, but you did do a lot, so I ain't gonna hold that. I ain't gonna hold that over your head. You did a lot. So, and so she gets back in the car, and we see this other car, and we see people get out the car. So apparently it's Branwyn's friend, it's her daughter, and it's a guy, Aaron. Now, Aaron don't look nothing like the picture that we seen, because in the picture he was all buff and fit. This guy looked like this one here looked like a meth head. I'm sorry, he just looked like he on drugs. Okay. Then they got this big old dog or whatever too. So Chaz told us that and like when he was talking to the producers, that he wasn't really like looking forward to seeing Aaron, but he did shake Aaron's hand, and I think he did like a little slide comment talking about if it wasn't for you, something, I wouldn't even met her, something to that effect. So he starts saying how they need to hurry up and release the inmates. He was like because they running behind. And you can see everything looks so awkward between, him and Aaron. Aaron, he ain't trying to, he don't want, you can tell he ain't feeling the fact that Chaz is there. And Chaz ain't feeling the fact that Aaron is there. But they gonna have to get through this just for the sake of Branwyn. Okay, so, everybody's getting anxious because they running a little late, releasing them. And Aaron and Chaz was, able to have like a few words. And Aaron told him, like, listen, I just, she's a good friend of mine. She's a real good person. And, I just, want her to be okay. It's not like he was trying to come and step on Chaz's toes. Chaz, I don't know if he really believe what Aaron says, because he was like, he think Aaron really wanted to try to rekindle whatever they had going on. But it doesn't look like Branwyn is trying to rekindle anything that they had on, because she barely even wanted to say hello to him. Barely wanted to say hello to him. So she gets out, her, the other girl, they gets out or whatever. And, she run over to Chaz, her and Chaz kissing, and that's all Chaz kept on saying. Oh, you're beautiful. I can't believe how beautiful you are. This, oh my God, he was getting on my nerves with how many beautifuls he said that she was. So he was like, standing face, in front of her, like she's really tall. He was like, she claims that she doesn't have a problem with it. And we heard her tell the producers in her confessional, he's petite. That's her word for it, petite. She was like, but he got swag. He's a Marine. He's an ex-Marine. He's in the guitar, band. She was like, he got swag. So she prayed to God. So she said to bring somebody nice, and she think that Chaz is the one that she prayed for. She was happy to see her best friend. The dog. Her friend's daughter. Everything is going off without a hitch. She is met by her carpentry supervisor that was worked in the jail with her, and he brought her this box that she made for Chaz. Now, the box was nice. It had like the engraving of them two names, the interlocking wedding rings, because and they wedding date, which would be the day that she got released. So Chaz was like, "Oh, that's so you the boss, baby," something to that effect. So he was like, "Well, I know we had this plan, but I still want to do it right." So he got down on one knee and he proposed to her, and she accepted it. They started kissing, and it seemed like I get good energy from Branwyn. I really do. She looked like she do not want to be in the life that she was once in with, the crowd that she was in, because they all look like they ex-drugs addicts. She was an ex-drug addict. She was like, she not trying to go back to that thing. Chaz is the person that she think that will help her, create a better life. So we shall see. That's all I got for this couple here. Now, let's just get Harry and Indy out the way. Y'all know I can't stand Harry ass. Y'all know I can't. But you know what? Like I said last review, I can't put all the blame on Harry, because Harry be kind of telling Indy, and Indy still staying. Pack your baby up and leave. You don't got no reason to still be there. Let him chase you. Like, for real. So anyway, they in the car. They about to go to on a date. Indy's stupid, but this is where I say I can't blame Harry for everything. Indy already know Harry got pulled over. He doesn't have his license. You already know he's on parole. Why would you keep allowing him to make the same mistake twice in your vehicle at that, putting you at risk? Why do you keep allowing him to do that? Because you asking him, do he feel comfortable driving since he don't have his license? And then he gonna say, this saying, drive it like you stole it, or something to that thing. She was like, well, I don't know that saying. And they started laughing. Like, y'all both two airheads. Like, it's not the fact that first of all, the fact that it's illegal to drive without a license, that's number one. But the fact that he's driving without a license while on parole, that's a violation. He already got a ticket to appear in court. Do you know the trouble that he can get in if he get caught a second time? Y'all stupid. Like, oh my goodness. Anyway, so they on their way to date night. Indy in her confessional say that she thought the first date night would be she'd get dressed in, a pretty dress and some heels, but he told her to dress sporty. So we find out that he's taking her to some kind of like jungle gym or some kind of rock climbing place, whatever. I don't know. It's some places they do all these different obstacle courses or whatever. And, it's both their first time there. They a little excited, to get out of, the sister house and get some alone time with one another. So they goes upstairs. The guy said, well, y'all gonna have to trust each other. So Harry made a joke, was like, well, we don't trust each other, but we gonna figure it out. Because, they had to be hooked up to like these harnesses, and it was actually like an obstacle course or whatever. So they made it through the obstacle course. Indy, she all trying to be gushing over him. She was like, well, if we made it through this course, she was like, what you gonna get tonight? He was like, what, some rest? and she gonna say no, some ass, and he gonna say, oh, that stanky booty straight from the jungle gym. She was like, well, I'm a shower. I'm like, ew, TMI, okay, TMI, because if her ass stink from being at the jungle gym, your ass stink too, Harry, okay? So don't be slinging that musty, dirty, stanky peen, okay? All right, okay. So anyway, Indy, this is what makes me sick about Indy. She come off too thirsty because she gonna say to him, well, you see how good that we, work together as a team. This should show us how good we will be as, parents. What you think about babies? He's talking about maybes. Why are you keep pressuring this man about marriage and babies? Indy, you already got two kids. One which lived with his she lives with her father for unknown reasons. We don't know. The second one you drag in from another state to stay with an ex-con and his family that don't really care for you too much. You don't have no your own place. You don't have no stability. You don't have anything. And then you're thinking about getting married and having more babies when you're not stable. Why would you even be considering having another baby at this moment? You're coming off thirsty. And what about Harry say, oh, I want him to be my baby daddy? What about him? What about him to say, oh, I want him to be my husband? What is he showing you? What is he giving you that that's who you choose? That's who you want to choose to make these life commitments with? Because from what I'm seeing, he's an ass. Okay? And the same stuff that he's showing us as viewers, he's showing you too. So I want to know, what about him that you want to rush down the altar with, and you want to, put a baby, in your body because of him, from him? What about that? Child. So, they having a good old time. We're talking. Next thing you know, his phone rings. And when his text message go off. So Indy never said nothing to him, but her whole body language changed. And he said, well, why all of a sudden your whole mood changed? And she was like, oh, because I seen the text. He had no response to it, no nothing. So the producers was asking Indy, but what did she see in the text? She was like, well, I didn't actually read the text, but I seen it said T. I think she said Terry or T or something. And she said it had all these heart and kissy emojis and stuff like that. And she, she instantly knew that it was something there. And Harry, he didn't even want to answer who Terry was to the producers. He was like, it's none of y'all business. He's not even saying. They asked him where was he going to go, and he was like, that's none of y'all business. So he not even trying to give up no tape about who Terry is, but he already said in his confessional earlier that he juggling two girls. So we already know there's somebody that you're seeing. So Indy ended up leaving him there. We don't know, as of right now, we don't know where Harry spent the night at, but Indy ain't staying the night with Indy. Indy left his butt where. That was the most sense she had right there. Left his butt right where he stood. That was the most sense I've seen her show this whole series. So we see Indy, her and Nicole, they getting in the car, making some, running some errands. Indy is sad. She's defeated. You can tell that this is doing, a number on her. And, she was saying how she don't know where he stayed the night at. She don't know anything. And she really sad. She said she sad for her. She sad for her daughter. And she was like, and it's crazy because even though he has done so much hurt, caused her so much pain, it still would hurt her to leave. Indy, I'm going to tell you, it always hurts to leave when you in a situation, but you still got to choose you every time. You have to choose you. It's not easy. Nobody is made of stone. Nobody can sit up here and say, oh, they never been in a messed up situation. Nobody can sit up here and say that, but you have to choose you every time. If you don't choose you, you giving him the power over you, period. So you better shake it off and do what you need to do. Put your big girl panties on. Do what you need to do. If you can't do it for you, do it for your children. Do it for your children. He ain't no good. He's no good. So her mom calls while she's in the car. And her mom, she can sense that something's off with Indy. Indy not trying to, tell her mom, what's going on. She was like, she don't want to hear, I told you so. She don't want to hear, come back to Maryland. That's where you need to go. You need to go back home where people love you and where you have the most support. That's where you need to be. So her mom was like, well, do I need to come up there? She was like, no, you don't need to come up here. We just adjusting. She told her mom that she didn't know where Harry was. The mom like, you don't know where he is. And she was like, no. She was like, something don't sound right. So Indy ended up hanging up on her mom, and her mom was still talking, but she ended up hanging up the phone on her mom. So we see that Harry is with Terry, and we find out that Terry was the residential counselor at the halfway house that Harry was in. And she said something about him just kept on pulling her towards him. She was trying to fight it, but they end up, I guess, doing the dip. He told her straight up that him and Indy was like spiritually married, but they wasn't like legally married. So she didn't really care anything about that situation. She felt as though it probably was weird, you know. So she's on his case about him getting rid of Indy, and he's asking her why she even bringing Indy up. She was like, because you're here and I know you be there, and you need to make a decision because I'm selfish with my relationships. So I'm like, oh, okay. Now he's telling us he don't know who he want between Terry and Indy. He said Indy is a beautiful person. You know, she was there for him. She showed him a lot of love, but he just can't choose. Okay, Harry, how about just let Indy go? Let Indy go. Let her go. And you and Terry can do whatever y'all gonna do. Let her go. So Terry telling him how, you know, they're those him and her is like water, and him and Indy is like oil and water. They just don't mix. He gotta break it up. He was like, she said Indy should have never even been up there in the first place. Listen, who are you to say Indy knew him before you even came into play? So how you want to say she shouldn't have been in there in the first place? Let's not get this twisted, Terry. You came and stepped on Indy's toes. That was Indy man before you even laid eyes on him. So here you go trying to pull a rank on Indy. If you don't go shut up, you see him. First of all, you just as thirsty as you want to be because you lost your goddamn job because of this man that don't have nothing to bring to the table. I don't see what's there about Harry that making these women go crazy. It's nothing about Harry that scream, oh, I'm going to lose it all. I'm going to risk it all. So, Terry, you want to sound like you got it together. You want to sound like you all, you know, this authoritative person. You this boss. But no, you sound stupid too, okay? You shouldn't even want near his ass. You get on my daggone nerves too. Let me stop. So, but I hate women like that. Like, girl, please, if you don't go sit down somewhere. Anyway, you know, so she was having him write out a list. I guess she wanted him, you know, to get focused on what he want to do. So the top of the list was Ava. Then you can see she had like job and housing and stuff like that. Listen, he said he appreciated the fact that she, you know, trying to steer him right and have him make out, you know, write out what his goals are and everything like this. Listen, it's a bad situation. I feel bad for Indy. I don't know. Terry don't know what she getting herself into because Harry isn't right. The only person that seems like they know Harry for who he is his baby mother, okay? His baby mom last episode called it right, and she don't pull no punches when it comes to Harry. But Indy was worrying about her, and this the whole chick that you need to be worrying about. And it seemed like Harry do got some feelings for her, but he can't choose. But like I told you, Indy, if you listen to my reviews, I hope you already in Maryland, but if you're not, get your daughter and get the packing, okay? That's all I got with y'all. Too. So now we back with Kevin, the knockout artist, and Tiffany. He double back and picked her up from where he dropped old boy, you know, to the ground. So Curtis had already cleared out. So like we already knew last episode, Tiffany called Kevin back to the scene of the crime. So she basically, well, we didn't know that Tiffany actually is getting parole. Her parole is to Kevin's house. So my thing is, Tiffany, if you know you were getting paroled to Kevin's house, why would you cause all that drama and allow Curtis to come pick you up? Like Kevin said, well, where was you going to have him drop him off to have him drop you off to my house and so he can get beat up there? And she like, no, I just needed to clear my head. Tiffany talking out her ass and she don't make any sense. Kevin is absolutely right. Like, why are you playing these games? She gonna say, and then that's what she said in her confessional, that she don't play games. She not playing. You're absolutely playing games. It was one thing, like, it was one thing if she was going to like her parents' house or a friend's house to get paroled. You're actually paroled to Kevin's house. So what all of this nonsense was about? You talking about, oh, you was a little nervous because you know Kevin is a ladies' man and this, that, and that. Girl, you already put your papers to Kevin's house. Like, you should have thought about that before you did that. Come on, Tiffany, come on. Like, you fooling. So, anyway, Kevin said that he hearing her out, but he still don't believe her. Like, he still don't trust her, I should say. But at this point, like he said, he's invested. It's been 4 years. So he's going to see, how things play out. Now, Tiffany tells us that she's been, excuse me, she was partying since high school and things started spiraling out of control. The partying never stopped. She was arrested with for like meth. I think she said like 2015, 2016. She got out on probation there. She never she said she stopped reporting to a parole officer or probation officer, and they came looking for her. When they came looking for her, they found guns, they found drugs, and they found her. But Tiffany says to us that she is grateful that she was arrested. She said because it had not been for her being arrested, she might be dead or, still doing the same stuff that she was doing. So she don't regret going to jail. And, sometimes when people's life is out of control and they doing a lot of stuff that they should not be doing, sometimes jail is the reset that they need to get stuff in perspective, especially if they already was living a dangerous life. So Kevin was asking her, what happened with Curtis? So she was telling him how, the cops, the ambulance, the fire trucks, all that came. And she was like, she just didn't want to be around no cops. I'm just getting out. She was. So Kevin is trying to still figure Tiffany out because, like, he tell us, like, listen, she's saying, now I'm baby or now I'm this. Because, like, he was telling Tiffany, he was like, hold up. He was like, you barely wanted to say nothing to me. Like, and Tiffany, you were saying he was just your, Curtis was just your friend, somebody you called that you knew you could depend on. And it wasn't, nothing more than that. But you literally gave him a kiss in front of Kevin. You literally kissed him. Like, come on. If you was come on. You was leading this man on. We're not about to play these games. So anyway, they get back to the house. And Kevin showed around in the house a little bit. And he was like, the love making room. She was like, so she said to the producers, well, saying love is a little bit, I forgot exactly what she said about love, but I guess it was like a little scary feeling for her. I don't think she loved Kevin, but she do like him. And she was saying how, his eyes he got pretty eyes, he got swag, he's sexy to her. She was like, he cute. So we shall see how this lasts between Kevin and Tiffany, because we already know Kevin got crazy Kayla, and I don't think Kevin trying to let Kayla go. So it's the next day. We find out Kevin and Tiffany had sex, but we knew that was going to happen. He said that they are sexually compatible. It was a good night. So she didn't have any complaints either. So he made breakfast, some bacon, eggs, looked like hash browns, gave her some coffee and some orange juice. I was like, okay, Kevin, you're getting your Betty Crocker on. Anyway, so they were, we're talking, and Kayla calls. And like I said, I don't think he's going to be ready to just let Kayla go. They had some kind of like toxic relationship going on. And sometimes for toxic people, it's hard to let that go. And he said to us that he's not really ready to just let Kayla go just yet. Now, Tiffany peeped that he, looked at the phone and he put the phone in his pocket, but she didn't say anything. And Kevin said that he's not ready to tell Tiffany about Kayla just yet because right now it's nothing like with him and Kayla. Like he said he's been, ghosting her basically for a minute now. So it's not like they've been like hanky panky in it. So right now it's nothing to worry about, but soon they will have to have that conversation. Now, Tiffany, she said that she was a little nervous about today. That's why she wasn't eating that much. So both of them was about to get ready, I guess, to whatever they had to do for the day. So Tiffany's in the house, pressing her hair out. Kevin goes outside. His phone rings again. It's Kayla. So him and Kayla talking, and she was just asking him what he was doing, and he was telling her nothing, some family stuff. So little small chit chat. So Kayla said to him, well, let's get together sometime for lunch or dinner. And he was like, okay. Now he was saying that he a little nervous because he don't know what to expect. Because normally when Tiffany finds out something, she'll do something crazy, and he don't want that drama. Now it don't look like Tiffany not looking for trouble because, like she said, she's on parole. But she don't look like she will be scared to handle whatever comes her way. That's all I gotta say about that. It looks like Kayla might have met her match with Tiffany. Tiffany don't look like she gonna be backing down from what Kayla got to offer. But Kevin, this is the reason why Tiffany was a little hesitant about coming with you, because she already know that you a player. Like, Kevin, get your stuff straight too. Get it together. Don't be the next Harry on this show, please, because we already got one, douchebag. We don't need another one. Please don't be that man. Please don't. Next couple we have is Lacey and Antoine. And you know what? This is like a real odd couple to me. And a lot of it has to do with Antoine explained that he was in the hole for 2 years and he didn't have that much social interaction with people, which make him socially awkward. It's just like, I don't know, it's just cringe to watch them on screen. So, it's his first day out. She picked him up. They driving. He a little nervous because he's saying that, when he was driving on the roads like that, I guess when he was in prison, probably going back and forth to court or, getting transferred to different facilities, he said they always was shackled, with the cop, they had, the police officers traveling with him. So she must have been swerving. He was like, chill out, because it was he said it was a cop that just was like passed by. She was like, I'm not trying to go back to jail. Like, Antoine, how would you go back to jail just because she swerved over? You talking about, you're not legal. You just got out of jail. You ain't do nothing wrong, buddy. You didn't do anything wrong. But it's the social awkwardness in him. So, she has a problem with his mother, which we all seen. And it seems like she is trying to control the whole situation between her and Antoine and his mom. So she told Antoine she had a surprise for him. She gonna pull out that cold ass teriyaki she made for him. And he was like, well, would you be mad? He was like, because I don't want that. He was like, it's cold. I want some hot food. And she didn't like that. You could see the expression on her face. She didn't like that. But I understood what he was saying. I didn't even see that it seemed like he was wrong when he said that. He was like, listen, he been in jail all this time. You want to bring him this cold ass food and you think he's supposed to eat it just because you brought it? Like, where was your mindset when you brought it anyway? Like, where was your mindset? So, they end up stopping to some store and they got some hot teriyaki. And he was like, oh, it looks bomb. It looked bomb. It looked like I got some shrimp in here and everything. So she was saying to him, oh, I guess this is pretty much like our first date. And he was like, oh, really? He just like, it's something about him. Like, that social awkwardness that he has, it comes through the screen strong. Like, it's hard for me to even watch these scenes. So he was telling her how he wanted to go visit his mom. And she didn't like that. He said to us, he was like, listen, I know Lacey and my mom, got their thing going on. He was like, but at the end of the day, that's still my mom. Lacey is all like, oh, well, why would you want to go see her? That's the reason why you would, be in the trouble that you in. It's nothing, what you gonna go over there to drink? And he was like, listen, that's my mom. Like, I'm not going to get into any trouble over there. Like, I just want to go see my mom. And she was like, that's the reason why you got into the situation that the mindset you got. She was like, I'm just going to be honest. That's a turn off. So you telling me it's a turn off because he want to go see his mother? Like, Lacey, you really thought you was going to be able to control him not being able to see his mother? Like, Lacey, come on. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You might got your issues with her. Like the mom already said, that's my son. He going to always come back to me. That because you older, that don't mean you're gonna take the place of his mama. Okay. You think you're gonna give him that old cooch? You think he's gonna be like, oh, bye, 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 mommy? No, he loves his mama, as dysfunctional as they are. So he gets on the phone with the mom, and he was asking his mom, was it okay for him to come over? Now, child, he gonna say, is it good? I'm like, oh, child, that's another story. So anyway, so the mom was like, well, me and Dow got the COVID. So he was like, well, I can't come over now if y'all got the COVID. But Lacey, she cracked a smile. She was happy as crap. And she gonna sit up there and say to us that when she heard that his mom had COVID, she said that she was upset, scared or upset or something to that effect. No, you wasn't. You cracked a smile. You were smiling. You was happy. You were happy. So then you got what you wanted. You got what you wanted with that socially awkward man of yours. I don't even understand what could he have possibly said to you that would make you even want to spend that much time on the outside courting him and want to start a life with him. He don't even got game. Like, I don't even understand. Like, how did he get you to... Oh, girl. That's all I gotta say. So they go back to Lacey's house. This motherfucker... He gonna sit up there and say, oh, I guess it's okay. It's a little plain. I'm like, well, goddamn. Like, what a way to, bust somebody's bubble. So he was saying, well, it'll do. It's better than the hole, I'm like, well, damn, you compare her house to the daggone hole? I'm like, well, goddamn. Let's see if you could do better. Child, he a piece of work. But that's where that socially awkward crap come. He don't know what to say about his goddamn mouth. So anyway, they, in the house getting themselves acquainted. She made him they had made some drinks. He's still smoking on his, weed. So he asked her, well, do you think I should, FaceTime my mom? So she was like, go ahead. Every time he say something about his mom, she cringe up. Like, you can see it. So he ended up FaceTiming his mom and his grandmom. They was excited to see him. The mom was talking about, you lit. And he was like, I ain't even lit like that. Steady blowing the blunt. So the mom was asking him how he feel when he first came out. Was he excited and all that? Everything that people normally say when you come out of jail. So the phone call ended fairly, in a short amount of time. They didn't talk much. So you didn't Lacey will say to him, oh, I'm sorry you couldn't get a chance to see your mom. Lacey, daggone well you don't care if he went over there to see his mom. Stop with the BS. You don't care. Stop it. So, she was saying, well, let's toast. He was like, well, what we toasting to? So she was like, your first day being out. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, how is this going to work? He's irritating me. But I get it. I understand it, but it's still irritating to watch. So anyway, they talking, and he told her to come over to where he was at. They started making out. Lacey was getting on my nerves because she was talking all like a big, like in this baby talk. It wasn't sexy talk. It was baby talk, and it was irritating. So they started making out, and he was like, listen, he was a little nervous to make out. He was like, it's a little intimidated because he haven't had sex in over what? I think he said 2 or 3.5 years. He said last time he had sex was with his ex-girlfriend. He said, well, he went to jail. She got lost, which typically people do. You can't fault her for it. You the one chose to do whatever you, did to get in there. So him and Lacey, they goes into the bedroom. And, it looks like they about to get it cracking. He says to the producers, like, he hope he hold up. He hope he don't, bust quick because, it's been a minute. He has that he's nervous about not being able to perform. But she would have to understand that, like, listen, she can't expect you to be great on the first go around. Bust the first one and then, see how you get once that one is out of there. Okay? But at least he honest about being nervous about the first time. Because some of the men be acting like, oh, they all macho. Oh, I can do this, I can do that. No, it is a lot to take in when you just coming in. Just coming out. So I'm glad he was honest about it. So moving on from them, last but not least, we got Radean and Rick and that whole situation with Kay as well. So we see Radean, she's getting herself together. She's up. I guess you I don't know why she's up so early, but she's getting herself together. Her mom comes into the bathroom where she was there, asked her if she wanted some coffee. Radean said yes. So when she came back with the coffee, she started prying into the business. So she was asking Radean about, her and Rick, and then she also was asking her about her and Kay. So she, said that 4 years is a long time. So we learned that Kay has 4 years. So Radean plans on waiting on Kay the 4 years that she has left, because she said, well, Rick waited for me for 4 years. And she plans on using the time that Kay has away to, see how things go between her and Rick. So she's like torn between the two, but really she's not torn between the two, because it seemed like she picked who she wanted to be with, and that is Kay. But right now, it's just that Kay is going to be inaccessible to her, because she's going to be eventually she's going to be out, because she's only on a furlough, but she's going to be out soon. And Kay, like she said, Kay has the 4 years. So her mom, her stepmom was like, well, I don't want to push you. I don't want to keep crying too much, and I don't want to push you into, one direction or the other. So I'm going to go check on your father. So, well, before she even said that, let me back up. She was like, well, do you think it'll be something like you, Dad and I have? So Radean said to her, like, listen, people live their whole lives and don't have what you and Dad have. Like, a lot of people don't have that. So I guess Radean don't even think that she's gonna have like the fairy tale ending with either Kay or Rick. But we shall see. She just getting frustrated, like she said. She's tired of people keep asking her about it. The mom goes in and talks to the dad, and the dad, he overheard them talking in the bathroom. So Radean comes out, and her father was basically telling her, like, listen, three people in the situation is going to be bound for trouble. If somebody is going to have some hostilities about the situation, and it's not going to end well. He was like, and I didn't raise you to, if you don't want to be with Rick, you need to end it, because I didn't raise you to, string people along or use people. And she was like, I've never asked him for anything. Anything that he ever did, he did on his own. But Radean, you did string him along. You strung him along. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like, the fact that Rick is even allowing this rotten tooth lady string him on around like that is crazy to me. Like, them teeth would have my skin crawling, even if she tried to even come close to me. Like, and you all in love with her, letting her play you with this other woman. Ew, that's so gross. Like, oh my goodness. That's just like on 600 pound life or whatever it's called. They all be having men. I mean, like, it just baffles me. It just baffles me. I guess that saying is a lid for every pot. I guess that saying is really, really true. It really is. So if anybody that can hear my review is down on their luck and love, trust me, the person for you is coming, because you would. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so Radean gets pissed off at the family. She was like, I want to go out there. I want to go smoke. She goes out there and smoke, pissed, because she was pissed off about what her parents were saying to her. But they were right. Like, don't be stringing nobody on. Some people don't like to hear the truth. It's the truth. Like, come on, Rick is a nice guy. Like, don't do that to him. You know what I mean? So, child. So Radean and Rick, they meet up. He took her back to ice cream shop where I guess they had like their first date 5 years ago. That's somewhere that they used to frequent when they, were together. So she told us that when she first met him, she thought he was fun, but she thought it was a little crazy, because every time when they were at a party together, he used to whip his penis out. So I'm like, oh, so a person that's whipping a penis out at every party that you attend, you decide you want to date that person? But she said he was carefree, he was fun, so that's what she liked about him. He reveals to us that he a little nervous about the case situation. He don't know, how that is going to pan out, and he's not okay with that, which I wouldn't be okay with it either if I was him. So she was telling us how, she really do care for Rick. She loves Rick. He was there for her when nobody else was. He even, put money on her books. And, she got, a lot of love for Rick. Which I do think Radean cared for Rick. I think she had love for Rick. I just don't think she loved him more than she loved Ken. That's the problem. That's the issue. But I don't think that she want to let him go because of the security that he provides. Radean explained to us how, her father and her mother was never together. They broke up before she was even born. Her dad was strung out on drugs. She said she was around her mom. And I think she said from like the age of 6, she can remember just always being around people that was getting high and, cutting up. And she ended up getting, started getting high. And she said that it's an everyday struggle for her thinking about drugs, but she said she just made up her mind and decided that she's not even going to be around anyone who does it. And I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Like with addicts, they do say like it's an everyday process. It's like it never gets easier. It's still just like an everyday process. You gotta every day choose not to use or whatever. So I kind of understood. Like I don't know that because I've never been addicted to anything, but I understood what she was saying just from hearing like different stories from people like on different shows and everything like that. So she was saying she was a little nervous, still being out, around, different people. I never realized that element to like being locked up and then when you come home, how is a transition, because she's not the first person that said, how it's like nervous energy when she's around other people. He was like, so Rick let us know that he was locked up before too. I didn't realize Rick was locked up at one point in time. So he said, well, it took him a couple weeks to get adjusted once he got out. He was like, and he can help her through it. It's a process. And he was showing her old pictures that they took at the same place 5 years ago. And she was like, oh, I look a mess. I look horrible. He was like, oh, no, you look beautiful. You look gorgeous. And I'm saying to myself, no, she was right. She ain't look that hot, especially with them goddamn teeth. And he keeps telling her how beautiful she is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Radean is an ugly person, but it's just like, it's hard for me to see the beauty with those teeth. Those teeth mess everything up. I'm sorry, it did. So they're going back to Radean's parents' house because they're going to spend the night, because the next day she got to go back to the halfway house because she only was on a 48-hour furlough. Well, it don't look like Rick and Radean going to probably be together much longer because they were, it's the next day. They getting ready to take Radean back to the halfway house because, she was only on a 48, or to jail. I guess it's to jail, but it looks like a halfway house that they drop her off to, but I guess they're going to take her to jail from the halfway house. So it's a 48, because she was only on a 48-hour furlough. So she only have a month left, but, she still got to follow the rules. So Rick decided to use that time on a way to drop her off to get some things off his chest, rightfully so. So he was saying to her, well, I hope, he was like, I know Kay got some time to be out. He was like, but when it is her time, I'm going to be blowing up your phone just like she did ours, interrupting our time. And he was like, well, so Radean was like, well, she didn't actually call. I was calling her. So Rick was basically telling her, like, listen, I'm not going to be okay with you and her being together. He was like, I wish you would have told me about the situation. I feel like that you were being, deceitful. And he said, I'm not okay with it. And he was like, I may have to let you go. And she's a little upset. She was like, well, why would he pick right now, right before I'm about to go in, to be having this conversation and making me all mad? She was like, that's not cool. No, it's not cool that you threw, Kay in his face the whole goddamn time y'all was together. And like he said, you didn't tell him anything about it. He was like, y'all talk about everything. Y'all normally be honest about everything. But this one little thing this one big thing, I should say, you wasn't honest about. And he's upset about it. And you gotta, Give him the right to be upset. You can't control the whole narrative. You can't control how people feel. Who is you? Like, come on. Like, you think you got all the control and he don't have nothing to say about it? Come on. Like, you brought this lady into his life. And you telling him, well, I don't know what to tell you because I love her. Okay, well, if you love her, y'all might got to rock it out and ride out. And you come, you when you on the outside, you take care of her and y'all live happily ever after. Leave me out of it. That's what Rick gonna have to come to terms with. Because he was like, something about money. She was like, oh, you it always come down to money. You think I was just using you for your money? It's not even about that. He was like, well, were you? Child, this is a day going mess with Radean and him. She was, so after they got out all the arguing, he was like, he told her he don't know what the future of them is going to be if Kate is still in the picture because he's not okay with that. And I can respect, I mean, she's going to have to respect where Rick is coming from. Like, he not okay with it. So she says she love her. Rick knows where she's staying with Kay. She trying to see where it go when she get on the outside with Rick. Because like she said, I've been with Kay all those years. I'm comfortable with Kay. I don't know what it is to be with you outside. That's something that I have to, experience. So Kay is like her safe place. Okay, all right. So anyway, so he drops her off and she was like, she hate even having to go back to the place. She wish she could just, get back in the car with Rick. He was like, listen, it's only a month. I'm sorry that I had to drop you off here, but I'll be back to, get you. So they say they goodbye. So Rick was telling the producer he don't know. Basically, he don't know what he's going to do from this point on. So he know she loves Kay, and that's something that he going to have to deal with. So that's all I got for this episode. If you guys like the content, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to holler at your girl. Bye.